Hosuk Lee-Makiyama is the director of the European Centre for International Political Economy. Hosuk, welcome back to the programme. Good to see you. So why is the Biden administration taking this action now? Is there a political motivation, do you think?
Well, the motivation is probably both political as well as diplomatic. First of all, we have, of course, no one has missed the world's biggest circus that's going on right now with what we call the U.S. election. So the Democratic Party really doesn't want to be seen as weak on China. And this is one of the things that could actually really sway the votes in the swing states. Then we have also the diplomatic reasons, which is basically that there is an overarching conversation around global overcapacities, not just in China, but everywhere, and where number of G7 countries have become increasingly defensive and also asking China to really address the overcapacity, especially in the automotive sector. So I think you could say that this is a way to basically pressure China and to show that there is a consequence for not taking action on those overcapacities that G7 now has been complaining about for a number of years.
Okay, and some of these tariffs, they are higher than was previously discussed. Why do you think that is? Is that a surprise?
Well, once again, going back to the question about U.S. elections, nobody wants to be up here soft. And also another factor here is that you need to have a certain margin in order to have a room for negotiation to basically scale back on some of those tariffs. And another factor here that we need to also bear in mind when it comes to U.S. tariffs is that it is possible to be exempt from these tariffs if, for example, a U.S. industry finds it really critical to continue sourcing from these countries. So this is actually a combination of these factors that basically make it, better safe than sorry when it comes to tariffs, I guess.
And could this not actually harm some American companies, some sectors? And, how dependent is America's electric vehicle industry on Chinese suppliers? What are the risks of maintaining these new high tariffs?
Well, truth be told, the U.S. supply chains in the automotive sector is far less dependent on China than, let's say, Europe or Japan or Korea. Partly because the transition towards electrical vehicles haven't actually gone that far in the United States. And if you look at the biggest manufacturer of electric vehicles in the United States, which is Tesla, has, of course, its own factories inside United States. Whereas if you look at the demand that's coming from Middle East, Europe and other places, actually 100% supplied by more or less by the factories in Shanghai. So, there's, in addition to this, I should perhaps mention that there's overarching dependency on, for example, materials like graphite and other critical raw materials that is almost exclusively supplied by China. So in the second tier of the supply chains, you will find a lot of these dependencies. But in terms of immediate suppliers, United States is actually relatively shielded.
Always great to get your insights. Many thanks. Hosuk Lee-Makiyama, Director of the European Centre for International Political Economy.